I'm Matt McClure.
And I'm Francesca Maxime, and this is Currents.
A race where everyone who competes is a winner.
You're not focusing on your own weakness. You're uplifting someone else for their strengths.
The king of pop and the culture that crowned him.
There's Michael Jackson, the icon, who's on stage, who is a fantasy, and then there's Michael Jackson, the man, who's a flawed and tragic individual.
And her Irish eyes are smiling, and her voice is singing.
You don't preach, I don't preach to people. I'll tell them my end of it.
Good Thursday evening. According to the last census, 1 in 5 Americans, nearly 50 million men, women, and children, have some form of disability. But more and more, we're being reminded that physical limitations are really in the eye and the mind of the beholder.
That's right, and you're about to meet one woman who is helping those with disabilities realize their abilities and giving all of us something to cheer about and a cause to cheer on. It is Tuesday, and Mary Bryant is in Central Park for another day of warm-ups with her running club. But it's unlike any other running club in the city. All the runners are disabled. This is the Achilles Club, taking its name from the mythical Greek hero who had just one weakness, his heel. But the members of the Achilles Club find in these gatherings not weakness, but strength.
When you're out there and you're doing something for someone else, you become stronger, you become more empowered, because you're not focusing on your own weakness, you're uplifting someone else for their strengths, and that strengthens you.
Mary has run her own surprising race through life. She grew up in Cleveland and came to New York 15 years ago to be a Ford model. She started running to keep her trim figure after battles with bulimia and anorexia. Soon, she felt called to fight another battle for her older brother, Don.
God immediately just put this in my mind. Wait a minute, Don can't run. Don can't even walk out the door.
Don was a quadriplegic, paralyzed from the neck down after an accident that snapped his spinal cord. He was confined to a wheelchair at home in Ohio.
I have 2 legs, and that day I called him and I said, I'm going to do this for you, and I'm going to do it for me, because I can.
Her plan was to run in the next New York City Marathon and to run for Don.
And it was in 1994 that I did my first marathon, and I had his picture on my shirt, "Go Mary, do it for Don," and I made 2 of them, and I sent one to him in Cleveland. I would tell him what it was like to do these marathons and the people cheering, and I said, it would be so cool if you could just be out there with me. He's like, oh yeah.
But running for him wasn't enough. Mary wanted to run with him. In 1997, the 2 of them completed the marathon together, with Don using a special chair that he controlled by moving his head.
He was the first man without use of his arms or legs to do the marathon on his own strength. Imagine 25 years of having other people feed you, bathe you, dress you, brush your teeth, and sit you in a chair. And finally, he got to go out and do something on his own.
After that race, Mary is now a dedicated marathoner, training up to 45 miles a week. She developed a program coaching people with severe disabilities in wheelchairs called Don's Team. Mary is now vice president of Achilles International. The team competes in marathons nationwide, most recently at the Hope and Possibility 5K in Central Park last month. Her goals are to inspire and build confidence for the men and women who are disabled. And as much as she is guided by her own experience and determination, she's also driven by something deeper, her faith.
I honestly believe God is in my heart, Jesus is in my life, and Mary has been more than a role model. Knowing that I was named after the Virgin Mary, I've often caught myself in prayer to her, saying, you know, please let me be respectful to you and do the best I can. But make time for prayer. Because as long as we can stay focused and our foundation is straight and we're on the right path, everything will fall in place.
Well, Wow, Matt, what an inspiring story that is.
Definitely.
I think she did that all for her brother. Well, as you mentioned, running in the New York City Marathon. That race happens every year in November, and it's the next big race coming up this year. Well, stay tuned. When Currents returns, we'll have the day's headlines.